It's funny how we hold on to the ghosts of old technology way longer than we actually realize.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Like, I mean, just think about the term word processor.
Right.
It sounds like, I don't know, some kind of heavy industrial machine from the 1970s. Like it's designed to take raw material, your keystrokes, and process them through this fixed mechanical grid.
And then it just spits out an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper.
Exactly. And the crazy thing is, we've carried that exact physical mental model right into the digital age. Like, most people treat Google Docs as nothing more than, a glowing typewriter.
Yeah, a really expensive digital typewriter.
Right. You open a blank white rectangle, you type from the top to the bottom, and when you hit the bottom, you just start a new rectangle.
Which is, I mean, that's fine if you're printing a letter,
Yeah.
but it's such a limited way to use the tool.
It is. It's like buying a high-performance sports car just so you can slowly drive it to the grocery store once a week.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
But looking through the official Help Center documentation for Google Docs editors, which is our source material for this deep dive today, it becomes honestly painfully obvious that treating this platform like a piece of digital paper is a massive misunderstanding of what it actually is.
It really is, because when you look at a platform's help documentation, you're not just reading a user manual, you're basically reading its DNA.
Right.
It strips away all the shiny marketing and shows you the actual structural reality of what the creators envision the tool can do.
Yeah.
And the documentation here reveals a complete, abandonment of the physical metaphor.
Yeah, which is what I want to dig into, because the very first thing that really caught my eye in the core documentation is this prominent section on the pages versus pageless setup.
Oh yeah, the pageless view.
Like, the system is actively encouraging users to just completely remove the physical boundaries of the page altogether.
Right, because when you read the technical parameters for the layout engine there, the focus isn't on preparing a document for physical output anymore. It's about managing a dynamic screen-native environment.
Screen native, exactly.
The architecture has fundamentally shifted away from that fixed coordinate grid, the grid that a printed page literally requires.
Yeah, with the margins and everything.
Exactly. It's moved from that to a fluid, responsive container.
And if you think about it, if you default to a pageless setup and you turn on dark theme, which they also highlight, and you start organizing your thoughts using lateral document tabs, you are explicitly admitting that this file will never, ever see a physical printer.
No, never.
It would be impossible to print.
Right. It's kind of an environment built for pixels, not for ink.
But look at the psychological implications of that shift.
Okay, yeah.
Because a physical book or a traditional document, it has natural physical stopping points. A page break forces a hierarchy, right? It forces a pause.
A built-in breather. Exactly. And when you remove that vertical limitation, I mean, yes, memory allocation and visual rendering change on the back end, but more importantly, the way the user actually structures an argument changes.
Because there's no bottom of the page to hit.
Right. Without a bottom to hit, you risk creating this endless, unnavigable scroll. Just a massive wall of text.
Oh man, like an endless scroll of parchment. Just rambling forever.
Yeah, which is exactly why document tabs are introduced simultaneously in the documentation.
Oh, I see.
You're no longer writing a linear narrative top to bottom. You're building a multi-dimensional folder. You navigate laterally across tabs within a single file environment.
So it's much more like a wiki than a book.
Exactly like a wiki.
Wow, it totally shatters the illusion of the printed page.
It does.
But, okay, let's unpack this a bit, because this introduces a massive architectural problem, I think. Well, if we have this infinite, fluid, laterally tabbed container, the traditional method of filling it, just sitting there and manually typing every single character, that starts to feel incredibly inefficient.
I'm sure.
It's like trying to fill a swimming pool with a teaspoon.
Yeah, and it's interesting because the documentation actually anticipates that exact bottleneck.
It does.
Yeah, the structural solution they offer isn't to, learn how to type faster. It's to stop typing entirely and start summoning data.
Summoning data, I like that.
This is really where the platform transitions from a writing surface into a command line interface. The documentation explicitly details the @ menu, the @ symbol.
Oh, right.
And it positions it as a universal database query.
Which is wild to me. This is the feature that really made me question if we're even dealing with a word processor anymore. Because, we've all used the @ symbol to, tag a coworker in a comment.
Sure.
But the Help Center outlines this massive ecosystem of chips. They call them smart chips, place chips, variable chips. And there are third-party integrations like AppSheet.
It's a huge list.
It is. And the mechanism here is what's so fascinating. When you insert a variable chip for, let's say, a project deadline, you aren't just bolding some text to make it stand out.
No, not yet.
You are creating an XML tag that constantly pings a central database.
Right. You are establishing a live data relationship. Just think about the engineering behind an AppSheet smart chip or a Data Studio integration that's embedded directly into a document.
Okay.
If you're drafting, say, a sales proposal, and you use a chip to pull inventory data from a totally separate database, the text in your document morphs automatically when the warehouse numbers change.
Oh, wow.
The word on the screen is just a mirror reflecting the current state of an external database.
So you aren't writing a static snapshot of what you knew at 9 a.m.
Exactly. It's always current.
Yeah. So wait, here's where it gets really interesting to me. If the line between writing a document and coding a lightweight application is, well, it seems like it's completely dissolving.
It is.
Because if I'm using Markdown syntax, which the documentation says is natively supported now,
Yep.
if I use Markdown to format a page that is actively pulling live API feeds through AppSheet, I am acting as a system architect. I am basically coding.
You are.
I am just using normal sentences as the UI wrapper for my database.
That is the exact paradigm shift the documentation is pointing to. The document becomes a living dashboard.
A dashboard, yeah.
And to maintain that dashboard, the system deploys all these automation tools. Things like Smart Compose, Smart Reply, voice typing.
Right, where it finishes your sentences for you.
Exactly. The software is actively predicting the next logical string of characters based on language models. So the user is transitioning from being an original generator of text into more of a director.
A director.
Yeah, you're curating building blocks and managing data pipelines instead of just typing words.
But, okay, if this document is a live dashboard pulling external database metrics and it's constantly updating itself automatically, that forces us to look at the mechanics of traffic and, concurrency.
How do you mean?
Well, because I'm rarely the only person inside this dashboard.
Oh, true.
If a static piece of paper sits on my physical desk, it doesn't care who looks at it. It doesn't change.
Right.
But a live application state has to manage simultaneous inputs from multiple people without crashing.
And that is a huge technical hurdle. But the documentation addresses this through its collaborative architecture, which fundamentally solves what we used to call the legacy silo problem.
Oh man, the silo problem.
You remember. Historically, collaboration meant dealing with isolated files. It was the classic nightmare of attaching a file called final_v3_actual_final.doc.
Oh my gosh, yes. And then someone emails back final_actual_final_v2.
Exactly, because the application state is trapped locally on one person's hard drive at a time.
It was awful.
But Doc solves this by hosting the application state in the cloud and acting as a real-time conflict resolution engine.
Conflict resolution, yeah. Because it basically swallows the entire workflow silo. Like I was looking at the documentation detailing how you can assign tasks or you can log meeting notes directly to Google Calendar and even run a Google Meet video call directly on top of the text.
All in the same window.
Right. You never leave the browser tab. The context switching is just eliminated because the document itself is the operating system for the meeting.
And taking that a step further, look at the inclusion of signature capabilities directly within this environment.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
The system manages the entire life cycle of an idea now. It handles the messy, concurrent brainstorming phase. It manages the project, tracking through calendar and task integration. And then it locks the application state down to execute a legally binding contract.
A legally binding contract right there in the doc.
Yeah. The underlying infrastructure has to be incredibly robust to support both informal emoji reactions and cryptographic legal signatures in the exact same digital space.
That's a really good point. It's doing so many different things at once.
Yeah.
But, that robust infrastructure also creates a side effect that completely changes the psychology of writing for me.
Really? Like what?
Well, the Help Center has this entire section on version history, and they specifically highlight a feature called Find What's Changed in a File.
Oh, sure.
And when you read how it works, it is essentially a forensic audit of the creative process. It logs every keystroke, every deletion, every terrible half-baked idea I type out at 3 a.m. before hitting backspace.
It does log everything, yeah.
It kind of replaces the myth of the solitary genius with this highly visible iterative reality. Like the engine tracks exactly which user ID is responsible for which string of text, down to the second.
Right. It's total accountability.
But knowing that engine is running constantly, I mean, it fundamentally kills the concept of the private rough draft for me.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Yeah, if I know the server is logging every typo and every bad sentence, I am absolutely self-censoring my initial thoughts.
You feel like you're being watched.
Yes.
Yeah.
It creates an environment of total corporate transparency, which, sure, is great for an audit trail, but it feels like it introduces this panopticon effect into the creative process.
The panopticon.
Yeah, the document is literally watching you write it. It's a little creepy.
I get that. I totally get that anxiety. But from a systems perspective, that forensic transparency is the necessary trade-off for concurrent collaboration.
Is it?
Yeah, because if multiple users are pinging the same database and updating the same live variables at the same time, the system must maintain an absolute, immutable ledger of who changed what.
Otherwise,
Otherwise, the application state collapses into total chaos. It's an organizational safety net.
okay, that makes sense. A necessary evil, maybe.
Exactly. And managing that level of granular data, well, it requires highly sophisticated access controls. Which brings us to how the platform handles global scale and visibility.
Yes, the visibility controls are fascinating because it operates on this massive spectrum. On one end, you have the ultimate lockdown.
The encryption.
Right. The documentation explicitly covers encrypted files and collaborating on encrypted files within Drive and Docs. And we aren't just talking about a basic password prompt here.
No, we are talking about client-side encryption.
Client side.
Right, where the encryption keys are managed entirely by the organization, not by Google.
Oh, wow. So Google can't even see it.
Exactly. This is the document acting as a cryptographic vault. It is engineered to house highly sensitive corporate IP or legally protected data. It ensures that even as the file sits on these global distributed servers, it is mathematically indecipherable to anyone without the specific decryption key.
That is heavy duty.
Very.
But then, with a structural pivot that is almost jarring, the very same platform offers the exact opposite mechanism.
The public web publishing?
Yeah. The documentation outlines how to quote-unquote make files public. You can take that exact same dynamic database-driven canvas and just broadcast it to the open web.
It is the difference between locking a painting in a subterranean climate-controlled vault versus projecting a three-dimensional hologram of that painting into a public square where literally anyone in the world can interact with it.
That is a perfect analogy. And that public projection isn't just, visually accessible. It is linguistically adaptable at a core structural level.
Oh, the translation tools?
Yeah, the Help Center lists this exhaustive array of supported UI and translation languages. I mean, they mentioned Catalan, Telugu, Ukrainian, Marathi, just to name a few. But the feature that really caught my attention structurally is the native support for right-to-left text editing.
Oh, that is a huge deal computationally.
Is it?
Yeah, the engineering required to natively support right-to-left languages like Arabic or Hebrew is incredibly complex.
I wouldn't have thought it was that hard. You just flip it, right?
Oh, no, it's not just a superficial visual overlay or a simple browser trick. The text rendering engine has to fundamentally recalculate string length, cursor positioning, and bidirectional text flow in real time.
Bidirectional meaning.
Meaning, because of the real-time collaboration, you could have one user typing left to right in English, while another user in the exact same live document is typing right to left in Arabic.
Oh my gosh.
And the server has to resolve both of those inputs simultaneously without breaking the visual interface for either user.
That is wild. I didn't even think about them working at the same time in different directions.
Exactly that. By building right-to-left support and real-time translation pipelines directly into the core rendering engine, the platform is dismantling geographic and linguistic barriers at the infrastructure level.
It's not an afterthought.
No, it forces the digital environment to accommodate the complex, multidirectional reality of global communication, rather than, forcing global users to conform to a Western left-to-right standard that we just inherited from physical typewriters.
Man, when you look at all of these mechanisms stacked on top of each other, it paints a very, very clear picture of what this tool actually is.
It really does.
We started with the premise of a word processor, a digital piece of paper. But the Help Center documentation proves that it's just a facade.
A total facade.
We are actually looking at a pageless, laterally structured data container.
Yeah.
It replaces manual typing with live API queries and variable chips. It acts as an application state manager to handle real-time concurrent editing and that forensic version tracking we talked about.
And it secures all of this behind a system capable of heavy client-side encryption or global multilingual public rendering.
It's kind of breathtaking when you step back and look at it.
The architecture is designed for systems thinking, not just word processing. It demands that the user understand how data flows, how it is connected, and who has access to manipulate it.
Which honestly leaves me with one final, slightly unnerving thought about where this architecture is inevitably heading.
Uh-oh, lay it on me.
Well, if we look at the automation tools currently sitting in the menus, right? We've got Smart Compose predicting sentences, voice typing, transcribing audio, variable chips autonomously pulling in updated database metrics.
Right.
The document is already doing a significant portion of the heavy lifting.
It is. The latency between a thought and its digital execution is approaching zero. The system is actively minimizing the friction of generation.
So, if the system is predicting the text and pulling the data, the human role has to fundamentally shift.
How so?
Well, in the very near future, I don't think we'll be writers in the traditional sense.
Okay.
We will essentially become prompt engineers for our own documents.
Oh, that's interesting.
Right, like we will establish the variables, we'll connect the data sources, and then act as an editor or a curator for the machine's initial automated draft.
The document will essentially assemble itself.
Exactly. It writes itself based on the raw data we feed it.
And the infrastructure to support that automated future isn't theoretical. As we've seen in the documentation today, the foundational blocks are already live and functioning in the platform right now.
It's a completely different paradigm.
It really is.
So I guess the takeaway here is the next time you open a blank document, try to look past the white rectangle.
It's hard to unsee it now.
It really is. You aren't staring at a piece of paper anymore. You are staring at an open command line connected to a global database, just waiting for you to tell it what to build.
Well said.
Thanks. It's definitely going to change how I look at my Monday morning meeting notes.
Well, for sure.
Well, that's it for this deep dive. Go explore the at menu, try a pageless setup, and maybe think twice about what you type at 3 a.m.